I remember the first time that I heard of someone going on a diet. I was 7 and it was my mom, and I remember being so confused as to why she was eating the sandwich insides without the bread on the outside, or why she was putting, instead of spaghetti sauce over noodles, why she was putting it over vegetables. And then she explained to me that she was on a low carb diet, and she explained to me what that was. And I just remember being confused because I was like, Mom, you're healthy, why are you even going on a diet? But since then, I've experienced firsthand what a low-carb diet can do to our bodies by my own experiments. And I know that we all know different people who have been on low-carb diets or have been on one ourselves or have contemplated cutting back on the carbs. And, we've heard the success stories and we've seen the results among the masses. But I think it's really important to understand all the health implications that accompany a low-carb lifestyle before we give up all grains. So the current nutrition guide put out by the United States Department of Agriculture, called My Plate, shows the proportions of food we should eat from each food group. So they have this main icon that they have, and it's done really well, and it shows the different amounts of each food that we should be eating, the different percentages. And you can see that vegetables, fruits, and grains are a lot of what we should be eating, and that consists of a lot of carbs. And so there's these different diets, Atkins, Paleos, we'll talk more about them later, but they cut out carbs, and they cut out especially grains. And so they're not in accordance with this recommendation at all. And so, along with that, the founding member and vice president of Nutrition and Health Associates, Frances Sicer, emphasizes in her book, Nutrition, Concepts, and Controversies, written in 2010, that 45 to 65% of our calories should be coming from carbs. And so that is right along with this. They're on the same page. And then along with that, 10 to 35% should be coming from protein, and 20 to 35% should be coming from fat. And this is because the main purpose of carbs in our bodies is to give us energy, to do all the things that we need to do throughout the day. So that's why we need to get the most percentage from carbohydrates. And Sicer explains in her book that protein can also step in and give us energy if our body has a lack of carbohydrates. But the problem with that is that it's taking protein away from the important functions that it serves in our bodies. And so we don't want to cut back on the carbs. We want that 45 to 65%. She also emphasizes that low-carb diets often result in loss of bone minerals, elevated blood cholesterol, impaired moods, deficiency in vitamins and minerals, and a ton of other negative outcomes. And I can attest to that in my own experiences with low-carb diets, that impaired mood is definitely a real thing. I was definitely moody, and I just remember being tired, and so I am fully in support of that statement. So like I said before, the Atkins and the Paleo diet, a main component of them is to just cut out the grains completely, which is not what we want to do, because according to the Government Institute Nutrition website, grains are important sources of many nutrients. So I'm going to read the nutrients because there's a lot. So it's dietary fiber, several B vitamins, including thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folate, and minerals, which are iron, magnesium, selenium. So all those things that you see like on the side of a cereal box, those are the things that the grains give us. And so we don't want to cut them out because all these essential micronutrients we need in our bodies, and a lot of them we can only find in grains. So if we say cut them out altogether, then our bodies will be missing. They will be missing those nutrients. So we don't want to do that. So it's not a good strategy for optimal health, like overall. And as for a weight loss strategy, there was a study done in 2015, and it's included in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, where one group followed a low-carb, high-fat, high-protein diet, and another group followed a high-carb, low-fat, low-protein diet. And they each group consumed the same number of calories and expended the same number of calories as the other one. And the results were that both groups lost the same amount of weight on these two completely different diets. And so this randomized controlled trial is evidence that losing weight has nothing to do with carbs or protein or fats, but really more about calories consumed versus calories expended. So a low-carb diet is not more effective than any other diet. And although sometimes we do need to go on a diet or change our lifestyle in order to reach a healthy weight, we shouldn't be cutting out a complete food group, because then we're going to be cutting out essential nutrients in our bodies. So in conclusion, carbohydrates, they carry a significant health value in our bodies, and cutting them out dramatically will most definitely prove pernicious.